Horace, born on 8th December 65 BC in Venosa, Italy, died on 27th November 8 BC, Rome in Italy. Quintus Horatius Flaccus said, "Begin, be bold, and venture to be wise. Force without wisdom falls of its own weight." Quintus Horatius Flaccus, known in the English-speaking world as Horace, was the leading Roman lyric poet during the time of Augustus, also known as Octavian. The rhetorician Quintilian regarded his odes as just about the only Latin lyrics worth reading. He can be lofty sometimes, yet he is also full of charm and grace, versatile in his figures and felicitously daring in his choice of words. Horace also crafted elegant hexameter verses, satires and epistles, and caustic iambic poetry reports. The hexameters are amusing yet serious works, friendly in tone, leading the ancient satirist Perseus to comment. As his friend laughs, Horace slightly puts his finger on his every fault. Once let in, he plays about the heartstrings. Horace can be regarded as the world's first autobiographer. In his writings, he tells us far more about himself, his character, his development, and his way of life than any other great poet of antiquity. Some of the biographical material contained in his work can be supplemented from the short but valuable Life of Horace by Suetonius in the Lives of the Poets. Horace, Quintus Horatius Flaccus, popularly known in the English world as Horace, said, "Begin, be bold and venture to be wise." Begin means, he said, one step leads to 10,000. Almost all the philosophers, all the masters kept on telling, one step leads to 10,000. Then what is stopping you from keeping that one step? That one step everybody is keeping, a slave step, an unconscious step, an artificial step. Hence the problem. When you keep your one step, the whole body becomes an instrument. You have looked into you, you have understood yourself, you have spoken to you, you are in deep intimate love with you. And after that, when you keep one step, that one hand, the hand of God, the God hand, you just put it into the head of anybody. It is blessed because it creates a magnetic effect. It creates a divine effect on the person who is receiving. Hence, Horace said, "Begin." He said, "Begin." What is stopping you from beginning? Begin means begin with you. Start looking. People are seeing, but they are not observing. They are blind in their seeing. Like the Japanese kids are taught what one look, they have scanned the whole person. And if a police comes and asks the child how a robber looks, he can tell even the color of the eyes. Just one look, the child scans it. That is observation, that deep observation. Horace said, "Begin, be bold." In that beginning, you become bold. Boldness comes of his own. Boldness was with you. It was just a dust in the mirror. You are not able to see your picture. Just wipe out the dust and you can see your picture writing. That is the boldness. Something bold is powerful. The roar of 1,000-man warrior right deep inside, so powerful. It can explode more powerfully than a nuclear bomb. Nuclear bomb destroys, but this bomb creates a love relationship. It is magnanimous, magnifying. Horace said, begin, be bold, and venture to be wise. And venture to be wise means give a finishing touch to anything and everything. What did the Japanese leader told me? Mr. Rakum, in Japan, there is no technology. When he offered me 50 lakhs, 5 million Indian rupees, I said, I do not want the money, but instead give me the technology. That 5 million will go off in 5 minutes, or 5 days, or 50 days, or 5 years. But a technology which stays in my country for years, thousands of years. He said, look, Mr. Rakum, there is no technology in Japan. I'll give an example. He said, we go to the toilet and you also go to the toilet. The only difference is when we come out of the restroom, come out of the toilet, we make sure another person should be able to use it. Yes, simple thing. Horace said, venture to be wise means when you begin. Everybody begins. And they go unconscious. They get carried away by the people around them. Then they become brutal dictators. Begin, be bold. Bold, begin means you walk and make sure the continuity is very, very important. Begin, be bold, and then the boldness comes. Boldness means you are not looking to left or right for people to give you a clap. You are not looking left or right to find out whether you get the first place or the second place. You are deeply involved. The deep intimate relationship with yourself becomes a deep intimate relationship with your nature, and then it becomes so close to the divine and the godly feeling. Horace said, begin, be bold, and venture to be wise. You have to be wise. In what way you have to give a finishing touch? What is a finishing touch? The finishing touch is, now there is a farmers' protest going on in India. Whole of India is burning with the farmers' protest. The leaders and the emperors and the rulers, everybody is in a shock. Why the farmers have blocked the head? When the head is not functioning, the stomach becomes loose motion. It becomes constipated. Whole country is in a shock. What went wrong? My thinking is, venture to be wise, dear farmers. Do not beg them, you are God for us. Because Annadana, they say, is very close to God. Annadana means the people, the farmers who creates the food for the country. They are God and nothing less than. The rulers are just slaves. They have got nothing to do. You have to be the guru for the rulers. What went wrong with the farmers, I can tell you now. You are simply aristocratic, but you are not at all aristocratic. Because you went to the toilet, when you came back, you did not make another person to be used. It is stinking. It is stinking. The toilet is stinking because in your land, did you have rainwater harvesting? Did you have solar? You should not use what the rulers are given, what the land is given. You must use what the nature has given. The rainwater harvesting, the solar and the wind energy. And the drip irrigation, what the Israelis have found out. So that we can save a lot of water. That makes the country so powerful. When the whole country believes my farmers are my gods and you are God, no doubt about it, because if you don't give food. But look at this. You are not going to beg. You are not standing with a begging bowl asking the rulers to throw some money into. Let them put any rule. That rule cannot overtake anything. They will come to your doorstep like the Japanese businessmen. When they asked loan from the banks, banks refused to give them loan. All the Japanese businessmen decided, no, we will never take loan from the bank. And they build up the business so powerfully, the banks are forced to take loan from the businessmen to pay the rent. That's what I heard him. You should make the You should make the rulers stand in front of your door and fall on your feet. Of course, they are falling on your feet for the oaths, only for your oaths. But this time, you should be the scientist, and you are the scientist. But the only thing is, you forget to give finishing touch. Horace said, force without wisdom falls of its own weight. You will also fall on its own, because the leaders kept on falling. It is thinking, you should not fall. My gods should not fall. My gods are my farmers. My writer are my farmers. Yes. And my farmers, force without wisdom. You are using force on the ruler. Leave it, the ruler fall of his own. When you don't feed the ruler falls of his own. Force without wisdom. Your wisdom is the rainwater harvesting, grey water harvesting, black water harvesting, check dams, and the drip irrigation, and the solar, that you will never use electricity free of cost from the government, because you do not want to take free of cost from the government, because you yourself have got excess. You create excess food. Why can't you create excess electricity and sell it back or give it free of cost to the government? And that creates the finishing touch. Force without wisdom. Wisdom, that is wisdom. Socrates says, yes, force without wisdom falls of its own weight. It keeps on falling. Even the farmers might fall. If my gods falls, then where is food? We have worked very hard to make sure that the invaders are pushed out. This is not invading our. Leave it. Wisdom to become knowledge. The ruler should be in the midst. The leader should be in the midst of the people. My farmer should be in the midst of the people, trying to understand people, not only trying to make food and give to them. How did you create the food, the rice? How do you create the wheat? Through rainwater, and then through drip irrigation, and then only using the solar. And then we can tell ours is a religious country. We have given the wisdom to the whole world, and we become so divine. Our children, our family will keep us feeling so good. That is the only one thing you can give back. Horace said, Quintus Horatius Flaccus said, begin, be bold, and venture to be wise. Give a finishing touch. That finishing touch happens of its own. If a little open, and we drop the begging ball. We do not want their begging money. We are not bothered about their rules they are trying to inflict onto us. They will fall. Force without wisdom falls of its own weight. They are falling of its own weight. But you also should not fall. This is my 265th small talks.